Daniel?
Passport.
No, I don't have my passport.
Okay, good.
That is a passport. No.
I'm gonna miss you.
I miss you too.
Please don't break anything.
I won't. I don't break bones.
Bye, Dad.
Bye, Dorothy.
Bye.
I love you. What up?
Well, it's going to look at a special edition.
Wait, oh my gosh.
Forever to draw. Like, I probably spent 30 minutes drawing that car.
Is this you?
Yeah, this is us. Just toss your stuff in the back.
Morning, friends. So I am out here in Montana just visiting my friend Isaac and his family and shooting here for a couple days.
This is JesseDriftwood. I don't know if you knew that. This is his new YouTube channel. You should like and subscribe.
It's called Sweatsuit Reviews.
Do you have the bell on? That's the real question. You got to get that bell on. Notifications. This guy barely ever posts, and it won't show up in
I
your
look
feed.
like I'm about to join a boxing match.
Oh, also, I gave Jesse that sweatsuit.
And I'm never taking it off.
Jesse, what are we doing?
Here, what are you doing you? Isaac, who are you?
I'm Isaac.
Okay, Isaac is a super talented photographer and more recently videographer. So I found him on Instagram because he tagged me in a story. What was it? You said, who should I follow for stories? Something like that. Someone, maybe you, I don't know, said me, he followed me. He started making Instagram stories that quickly became my favorite Instagram stories on the platform.
Jeez, that's too nice.
Well, not anymore. And now here we are. He invited me out, said come spend time with my family on my property, and this is Montana. And while I'm out here, I thought, why not take this time now that I'm a YouTuber to answer some of your questions. You guys have sent in a bunch of video DMs, and throughout this week between adventures, I'm gonna answer them.
Hey Jesse, first of all, I must say I'm a huge fan. And my question is, how do you manage creativity with business? You know that this is your time when you're creating and this is your time when you're selling. How do you know the difference? How do you balance?
Okay, so I'm gonna pass this question off to Isaac because he's so much smarter than me.
I don't know about that. Yeah. How do I manage creativity and business? So for me, they're the same thing, kind of. I'm creating, but like, you can't do creativity if you don't know how to do business. You'll just be poor and you won't have any resources to make things that are really cool. Okay, that's not a really good answer, but I guess to manage my time, I don't really. I just push really hard to create something. I make that thing and then go pitch it to companies maybe and get them to give me money for it. So it's more of a progression than it is like 50% of the time I do this, 50% of the time I do that. It's like, do I have something to share and or to sell? Do I have a project that I think is good enough that a company will want my cool factor or story or something like that? There's no manage other than go build something, then go try to get people to join your party with it and give you money for it.
Jesse, my question for you is, did you go to film school? And if so, would you recommend it?
Easy answer. No, I didn't go to film school, and truthfully, at this stage, I wouldn't recommend it. Some people do need structure and rigidity in order to learn, in order to progress, but what I think is that if you don't have the personality in order to go out and do that learning on your own and kind of push for it without anyone telling you you have to, you're probably not gonna have what it takes to really make it in this industry anyway. So I think everything you would learn in a film school, save the connections you might make, you can learn online and through practice and through mentoring with other filmmakers. And I don't know where I was following up with that. No, I didn't go. I probably wouldn't recommend going.
Hey Jesse. All right.
A friction rod, just put it on other things. That's your tripod now.
What was your most embarrassing vlog / filming experience?
I honestly can't think of an embarrassing thing that happened, so next question.
My question was, what challenges do you face or run into as a filmmaker, even though you are experienced in this entire industry? That's a pretty good question.
I mean, I face challenges all the time. Every video I'm learning something new. In fact, what I love about the filmmaking process is so much of it is problem solving. It's how am I going to get the shot I need, or how am I going to tell the story I want to tell. My challenges are all of them. I have all of the challenges. Also, how to make money and how to have money, and how to not need to get a job at Chipotle.
Hey Jesse, a question for your Q&A. As a content creator, because you're now officially a YouTuber, how do you prioritize your time?
I'm really bad at prioritizing time, I'll be honest with you. I will do anything and everything to just have more fun more often. So I'm lucky that I work really well under pressure, which means that when it comes down to it, I can push myself to get things done. Who's a good time priority? Tim Ferriss, he's a guy that people listen to. Go listen to Tim Ferriss.
Hello Jesse, how do you do the slow motion with your cam? Do you record in 60 frames per second or just in 30? I come from Peru.
Hey man, it depends on exactly what I'm shooting. So I shoot probably 90% of the time in 60 frames a second. This is 60 frames a second right now. I edit in 24 frames a second. It just means that if I want, I have the option of going into slow motion. I also occasionally will shoot 120 frames a second and even up to 180 frames a second. I use my iPhone or a GoPro and do 240 frames a second. It all depends on what the action is that I'm filming, and I think eventually I'm going to make an entire video on choosing your frame rate for slow motion, because I think a lot of people assume that like the higher frame rates are always better, but you don't need 240 frames a second to watch me smile like
Hi, what's up, JesseDriftwood? So I have one question, only one question. How and what gear you use for shooting IG story?
So the gear question I get a lot, and the answer is simple and complicated. So this is the EOS M50 and the 11-22. It's my most used setup, but I'll use whatever I have with me. I'll use my phone, I'll use a GoPro, I'll use a Panasonic. I've shot on so many different cameras, but the main setup is this right here, 11-22 EOS M50.
JC, tell me have you ever burned out creatively? And if yes, how did you deal with that? Thanks for the answer and have a great day.
The answer is a resounding yes. I feel like I burn out creatively once a week, and there's no one right way to deal with that. Sometimes the answer is just push through it and just make something regardless. Sometimes it's to completely step away and do something else you love doing. Like for me, it's skateboarding or running or one-wheeling. For you, it might be painting or video games. I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for you. It's just hard sometimes. Ah! I just realized that like 20 minutes ago, I left my phone on the roof of the truck, so we're driving back. I don't have high hopes for finding it. Oh, this is the spot. All right, I'm gonna hop out. I don't even know. No! What? Look at this!
How broken is it? We drove over the phone on the way back. It's not even broken.
Yes! Sorry. Oh, I'm so pumped about that. Ah! All right, here's the plan. Isaac and I hop on this motorcycle, and we ride up that. Wow, you can't see that.
That's how you unload a bike by yourself.
Because I'm a vlogger.
Hey Jesse, which one is your favorite, YouTube or Instagram?
Neither. Twitter.
How do you plan your shots, and how do you make a few great shots instead of just a bunch of mediocre garbage shots?
So the answer to the second question is the first question. So the way that I get a bunch of good shots rather than a bunch of mediocre shots is that I plan my shots. And that doesn't necessarily mean planning my shots at home, pen and paper kind of thing. It's just when you're in a location like this, I scope the area and I try and see which different shots I could use to kind of create this whole scene. Because it's one thing to just point the camera real wide and show everything, but you're kind of ruining the mystique if you do that. So I'm looking for textures, you know, the way these trees look and the way the rocks look and the way the sun looks, and I'll try and plan smaller pieces of the puzzle and then create one larger scape.
Hi Jesse, I'm Iqbal from Indonesia. This is not questions, but can you say hello Indonesia, apa kabar Indonesia?
Hello Indonesia, Indonesia.
Hey Jesse, big fan. My question to you is, what do you think of vertical videos for the future? Do you think they're going to become a standard eventually, or will we still be using horizontal and vertical eventually?
Vertical video will never become the standard because the way our eyes perceive the world is there's sky, there's ground, and then there's everything. We view the world in a horizontal fashion. However, as long as we have devices in our pockets that people are just looking at like this, there's going to be vertical video and there's going to be a market to create vertical video, whether that's just your own silly vlogs that you put on Instagram or whether that's proper ad content that you're making for brands. Skirt! Okay, that is it for our week in Montana with Isaac and his family, and I really think you should follow his Instagram because he's one of the best photographers out there. Oh geez. Oh geez. And B, I'm convincing him to go on YouTube because he's just getting into video over the last year or so, and he really has an eye and a mind for storytelling. And if anyone has the right to convince people they need to be on YouTube, it's me. We're just gonna go for a swim now. See you next week, next month, next video. Kind of hurt my shoulder.